This is part 2 of a 2-part podcast.
Hi, this is Mark. There are a lot of reasons to get angry these days, but I prefer to focus on the positive things that we each can do to make this world a better place. The book, Building a Better World in Your Backyard, Instead of Being Angry at Bad Guys, is a great resource for just that. Instead of throwing my arms up in frustration at governments or big corporations, there's a list of ideas that we each can tackle to affect change. Information about this book and other resources can be found at permies.com.
When it comes to the word validate, when you get it done and the BB is approved, now you have the sensation of validation. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So, and at the same time, I imagine that when you've looked at some of these and you've seen some of the BBs that have been rejected, I suspect that you are also thinking like, oh yeah, that one should have been rejected. Why did they even submit that? Fair?
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know if I can want to speak to that because I don't know. I didn't see the process.
Okay.
I didn't see, was it just that the right photo, the precise photo wasn't taken? Or was it that they totally missed a line item in the instructions? And it's like, oh, man, you can tell how much effort they put into this. And yet, because of this one little detail, I feel for them. Like, is it salvageable? Can they go back and fix it? Or is this you have to restart? And now that I'm doing a little more approvals and I'm looking at other people's BBs, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt and, not be discouraging if I, leave a comment. But there were times that I get a rejection and I didn't get a comment. I didn't get somebody reaching out to me. Anyway.
I want to touch on that. I would say that most of the people that I know of that leave no comment, they just reject, they have been burned 100 times by trying to help a person, only to have that person come back and tell them that the problem isn't their submission, the problem is the person that was approving is defective. The person that was supposed to approve it but rejected it instead and wrote some snotty comment about how to do it better, that person has poor hygiene, poor education, poor intellectual ability, their mother dresses them funny and they smell bad. And it's like after a while you're like, fuck this. If I'm going to reject it, I'm just going to reject it and say nothing. I don't want to fucking get into it.
I see.
And so basically the reason why there are some rejections and there are no notes is because some of the people, not all of them, but some of the people that are going through SCIP have trained them to be that way. And those people are doing it on a voluntary basis. And they just don't want to get into it anymore.
I get it. And so I want to be the voice of the other person, right? So anyway, you have to figure out a way of pulling through that and without, getting too hurt. But there was a time a few years ago when I was kind of dabbling with SCIP, not really taking it that seriously, doing a few BBs just because I'm already doing it anyway, so why not just take a few pictures and submit it? And I had one rejected. I don't remember what it was, actually. I threw in the towel. This judging process is way too subjective. I see an earlier post and actually, I know what it was. It was doing an ash clean out of a rocket, and as part of the submission you need to attach a video of the first run after the rocket was cleaned, and I didn't have a video. And there were BBs approved above me that also didn't have a video, but they were approved. And I thought, wow, I missed that in the instructions. That's on me for sure. But dang, there was precedent above me And it was that feeling of unfairness, and this is way too subjective. And I think it hurt a little bit because for that one especially, I only had access to a rocket here at Wheaton Labs, and by the time I got the rejection, I was home. So it's like, wow, I have no recourse. And I just had to accept that rejection, and I had no way of remedying it, you know.
I think we have something called BB court.
No, it doesn't exist.
I think it exists because I recall spending way too much time putting it together years ago. And so it's something where I think your first pass at BB court is free. And then after...
As of a month ago, talking to Mike Hossel, it doesn't exist. Right now, all we have is the BB clarification thread. That's all there is.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say it exists. But I think that it's like the first time is free, the second time there's some sort of coin, and I think that if the result is that the person wants to, like, they don't, if they think that, because I think that there's 3 BB experts that are brought in for BB court, and then if those three experts they come to a position of like, here's what we think, and then if the person still feels like it isn't cool, then I get brought in, but they have to slap down $200, I think. That's my vague memory. And then I'll decide. I'll make the final decision. And I know that level has never been activated. Like, at no point has it been like, oh, you know, here's my $200. I want to go to the big boys BB court. And so there's been that. So I kind of feel like, for a free system, it is amazing. I also feel like you mentioned something about, like, you see stuff up above where it's been approved, and it's like, why did they get away with it? And my guess is somebody made the point of, like, we need to have proof that it's working afterwards, because some of these left the system all broken. And
I think maturing.
And so I think that what would be great is if those earlier ones were, like, publicly marked as, this one is now hereby grandfathered in, even though it doesn't meet the new requirements. And so, yeah, that would be my guess, is a boo-boo in the system, but it is all free, and it's all managed by everybody who's trying to make it work is all a bunch of volunteers. And so I think I think giving people a little bit of leeway is probably good. But let me ask you a slightly different question. You went to college, you got a degree, and there was a lot of bullshit you had to go through in order to get that degree. Is the level of bullshit you're having to go through with Skip worse than what you had to go through in college?
No. And to follow up earlier, I have never seen any Skip court. There was one point where I kind of looked for it, but I don't, as far as I know, it doesn't exist. And my recommendation, if you are pursuing Skip, just move on. Don't try to get vengeance or whatever it is, right? Like, just accept it, move on, do better. You know, that's it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it.
I think you should expect that a lot of BBs you're going to have to do over, and I think the first few BBs that get submitted, you're going to have, a lot of those are going to be, you're going to learn, you have to do them over.
And man,
but they're quick, they're small.
Yeah, I think the when you do it over, it takes less time, and just do it over.
But some people feel passionately that they're not going to do it over, and instead what they're going to do is raise hell and fight it with the man. And so they're fighting a bunch of volunteers who are just trying to help.
And even if it feels justified, because you put in the A++++, plus effort. I see you. I know you did your dang best. But it's not worth the energy to fight it. Just try to learn what you can from it and fix it. It'll do you. You'll be much better off for it. So.
On the bigger BBs that you're working on now, you're probably triple checking to make sure you got all the pictures and stuff along the way. You probably haven't had to redo any of the bigger BBs.
You know, I was actually looking at it more recently. I think I have about a 5% rejection rate or edge case rate, which I feel pretty good about. It's been a while since I've had some BBs rejected, but I had a series of one BB rejected at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. It was the same BB that I kept getting rejected, and it was a food straw level BB, so way more effort than a sand level, and I just kept getting it rejected, and I was feeling pretty exasperated because it seemed like there's been a major buttoning up of the food restrictions, so no plastic, Teflon, the list goes on, and what I learned out of those series of rejections is, wow, there's plastic in everything. Even on some packaging that, to me, looked paper. It felt like paper, and yet apparently there was plastic in it. And so, wow, just unreal. That was a lesson for me. You can't really trust the packaging. You have no idea. And so if you can steer clear of packaging when you're sourcing your food, it's probably better for you anyway. And so as the perspective that I gained from getting all those rejections. But yeah, I had the same BB rejected multiple times. And it hurt because that BB was not just like a multi-week effort. It was a fermenting one, and so once you mess it up, that's multiple weeks of effort. It's not like I was tending to it, every hour, but it took a lot of planning to get that one accomplished, and so that one hurt. That one hurt me for sure.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that through all these BBs that you have completed, that it has forced you down a path where you have built a lot of homesteading and permaculture skills, and at the same time it has forced into you certain values that you didn't have before. Like you learned about plastics being hidden in some things, and it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, seriously. It has made me more aware. It's given me an education for sure.
Yeah. All right. Here's a good one. One of the people that's ahead of you is Rebecca, and Rebecca is also, I believe, going for land. Like she wants to get the land stuff too. Yeah. And she might get there just ahead of you. And so
I'm rooting for you, Rebecca.
So there's a bit of competitiveness as well as a bit of mutual support.
Yeah.
And so it's a race, but so far it's been a collaborative race. People are helping each other. Yeah. Okay.
Rebecca inspires me.
Which is another point in the thing you just brought up, is that as you're working on these BBs by yourself, because the BBs where you got rejected was when you were doing it by yourself. So I remember being in college taking a class called Discrete Mathematics, and it covered like a bunch of weird branches of math. And I was part of a study group, and it's like, without the study group, I don't know if I could have made it. It was because it seems like every week we would start on this whole new branch of weird-ass math. And it's kind of like, why would anybody ever even need this weird-ass branch of math?
That's how I felt about taking differential equations and matrix theory. I've never used this in my life, but I had to pass those classes, and it was so weird. weird math. Yeah, so I know.
Discrete mathematics includes matrices.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit about this?
Oh my
But it's
gosh.
like it's part of the class, and so it's like, okay, and every week it's this whole new branch of mathematics. So our study group would help each other. So basically that's kind of the thing you're saying is like you're far enough ahead that you don't exactly have 100 peers. You've got like 2.
This is a little more relatable than differential equations and matrix theory.
True, you can kind of see, I mean, granted, but it's like, who gives a shit if there's some plastic in this? And it's like, then afterwards you're like, all right, fine, I want there to be less plastic too.
Bringing this to an earlier conversation we had, yes, having some support within Skip is so, useful in so many ways, and I'll give you a few examples. It's like, inviting people over to do a BB, and now I need to take pictures. Why are you doing that? Like, this is weird. Why do you need a clock in front of me? And it just feels so uncomfortable. So then it's like, okay, great. You know what? I'm going to bring the Skip books out. I'm going to tell you about the program. An hour and a half goes by, and they are still confused. And so to be here and not just having the access, but, the support, people like understand the documentation that's needed. I remember one time I did, I taught a section of PDC back home, and in order to leverage that experience for a BB, I needed photos before, after, middle. Get all eight heads have to be in the photo, and I tasked my kids with trying to get photos, but they're kind of young. And
here's a picture of a bug.
Yeah, and so they didn't have very much training at that time about what exactly you must have in this photo. And so my daughter took a number of photos. I had a friend in the audience who took a few photos, and I was so excited. I spent a good week planning for this presentation, doing the work beforehand, and I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the BB.
Yeah.
And then I get home and I look at the pictures that were taken, and it's like, well, this isn't going to cut it. All of 40 plus hours of work for this. Wasted. Totally wasted. Oh,
Was it?
I cried so much because I couldn't get credit for the BB.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I didn't have 8 heads in the photo, and I felt really bad because my friend was excited for me. She kind of like got the gist of the program, but it's like if you didn't get the correct photo, it doesn't matter. And so you can willy-nilly, hey, look, I got some photos for you. You're welcome. I'm so glad. But you didn't get 8 heads. It doesn't matter. So, that's it.
And I think I have a vague memory of when we were creating the BB that Mike was talking about some of the stuff that he's taught, and that what he would do is he'd whip out his phone and set it on that mode where you're taking a picture of yourself, and then hold it out and take a picture of yourself with the class in the background. And
I'm not really and I would say that BB I did kind of earlier on, and I'm not really, I don't really like having my phone out and about. I don't really take a lot of photos. I'm not like a selfie kind of person. I actually try not to be the selfie kind of person, and it was really uncomfortable for me to try to get photos of people in attendance without having to explain why. And anyway, I was unsuccessful there, and I realized I just need to do whatever it takes to take the photo next time. As uncomfortable as it is to take the photo, I need to do it. And so it's kind of pushed me out of my own. When you were gone, I was talking to myself a little bit. I was
and that weird.
Just to catch you up on the earlier conversation that you missed. I said that, Skip has kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, and it's pushed me to do things that I normally wouldn't have done. Like I hosted a workshop. I normally would not have done that, but I needed to do it for the BB. And maybe if it weren't for Skip, I probably would have gotten to that point in 5 years. But having this additional motivation of I need to do it, and I'm working on a timeline, and I need to do a workshop and get it done. So I'm grateful for Skip in many ways, and one of it is pushing me to teach, a PDC topic. Maybe I would have hem and hawed on it before, like, I'm not, I don't have enough I have so much training, I need to just do it. And so it's pushed me. It's pushed me out of my comfort zone because I need to.
So you didn't get the BB.
I didn't.
Put in 40 hours.
More than.
But it's brought you out of your shell.
Yeah.
And those people benefited. And so I think part of it is that having Skip exist is making the world a better place, because people like you are going out to teach important things. And it's, you would have never have taught it otherwise.
No.
So the world is better. You're better. You didn't get the BB.
I didn't.
But
I tried so much.
Well,
but I didn't even submit it, and I didn't have to cry about the rejection because I didn't even submit it. But
for all of
behind the scenes crying.
for all of the stuff that you did at college, did any of the school-related stuff cause some shed tears?
Yes.
Okay, and then for all the stuff you did at worky jobs, was there anything where we've decided you just put 4 months of work into that, and we decided to not use it, and we're going to flush it down the toilet, that kind of thing?
Oh, I've definitely cried over work stuff too.
Yeah,
I'm just a crier.
But then the stuff that like you would put a whole bunch of work into it, and you were putting your passion and your life and your everything into it, and then for whatever reason, for some reason or other, the company's like, we decided to flush it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
when you put your hard effort into something and it doesn't go smoothly, I think it's natural to feel feels.
So basically, Skip is measuring appropriately. It's like, because probably everybody is going through some of this shit here and there where they're, frustrated in the exact same way, but it did get them to go out and people did benefit. And at the same time, the next time you do it, you're probably going to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, so it counts.
Yes, I think that is an important feature of Skip that isn't its own BB. It kind of rides alongside in parallel with it.
I'm going to speculate that when you hit PEP 2, which I'm going to guess is going to be in 6 to 9 months. Is that about right? Maybe?
I like numbers, and so if I can continue at my 20 hours per week pacing based on the number of BBs that I have and the number of hours I anticipate I need to allocate to each remaining BB, I think my current goalpost is October 17th.
Of 2025. Okay, all right.
Have you ever wondered whether a particular book was really good or just so-so, and if you could trust the reviews online? When it comes to books related to permaculture, Permies has a large list of reviews for over 100 books. Perhaps you're considering a book for yourself or a friend, or you're just curious about what's out there. Stop by permies.com/book and take a look at the book review grid and read some honest reviews, and hopefully you'll find the next book to add to your collection.
All right, so I'm guessing about right 9 months. And so then, after all the time that you've put in, squeezing it in here and there, but you have popped out here a couple of times. Like when you popped out for the first 2 times, it was for the Garden Master course and for the Rocket Mass Heater workshop. And I don't recall you working on BBs then. Is that right?
During the rocket workshop, that's when I did the clean out.
Okay. All right.
So I was very passively doing it. At the time, I didn't feel like needing to hit the marker at the end was important to me because I have a career and it's lucrative and I can buy my own thing, right?
So 3 trips out here to kind of help, and then so however much time is involved, and it seems like during the Garden Master course that you were here for, it was like, I think 3 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And then the Rocket Mass Eater workshop you were here for was probably 2.5 years ago. So if you put in a total of 3 years kind of mixed into the rest of your life, and for a good portion of that you were simultaneously working a full-time worky job, that you might end up with $1 million property, might be worth it. Fair?
Right now it's all speculation.
Oh, yes. Oh, sure. I did use the word might.
Yes. So I'll answer your question, which is, yes, that absolutely sounds like an appropriate trade.
Yeah.
No, not just appropriate. Highly generous, right? But then I'll also say, there's a huge aspect of doing skip with no guarantee. I have no idea what I'm going to be getting, and back to my 3 options, I could, spend the time and effort looking at property, and there have been, years that my husband and I were perusing property or areas of the state that we were interested in and what have you, and it was weird how much daydreaming resources that actually consumes.
Yeah.
And so, in a small way, not knowing what you're going to get at the end is kind of a gift, because instead of doing all that daydreaming and planning, because I'm such a planner, it keeps me up. I just want to plan all the time. I've created a resolve to say, I'm in this period of learning. I grew up in the city. I have a lot to learn, and man, if I could have known where I'd be a year ago today, I never would have imagined how much I could have learned in this, even just the last 9 months, how much I could have learned. But you have to have a certain amount of trust, I guess, that there is something amazing at the end of the tunnel, because I could potentially be doing all this work and not actually get something that is that viable. I have no idea. And so sometimes you commit to doing things with no guarantees, and you just kind of have to hope for the best.
I think that the amount of effort you'll need to go to get land is going to be a lot less at the beginning. So I mean,
this is true.
And I do think it may be wise for us to put together a podcast with some of the Otises that have contacted us, and keep them anonymous. Don't show their face. Let's have them use some sort of nickname or something like that. Because in the past, when Otises have stepped forward, they got absolutely bombarded by shysters.
Well, I think it would be lovely for me personally to have a little bit more of a get to know the different Otises. But like I said, right now I'm trying to keep my head down and get the work done, and not daydream. So I have a certain amount of curiosity, what could be at the end of the tunnel, but I still need to keep my head down and stay focused.
Okay.
But this actually reminded me, a few months ago I was on the phone with Rebecca, and we were just kind of we both kind of resonate with some frustration. Oftentimes there are cons with being like an early adopter, right? Like we're kind of trialing this system and we're kind of building its own maturity. And so, for a number of BBs that we do, we could be the first person to submit it. And that, it's troubling sometimes because, when you're doing something for the first time, you don't get the luxury of seeing somebody else do it successfully. You don't know what kind of photo, will count for the documentation. There's no precedent set. And sometimes, being an early adopter, stinks. But I remember telling Rebecca, there are cons to it, but there are also pros. The pro is that, we might not have to get to PEP 4 in order to hit that goalpost. Like our goalposts are maybe, will come way earlier than somebody who doesn't have to deal with maybe the immaturity of the system. And so there are pros and cons to it, for sure. So yeah, early adoption comes with some trust, maybe. And the other thing was, when we submit a BB, we almost have to, and oftentimes when we are setting the precedent, if we are the first person submitting a BB, I think it's almost our duty to ensure that, we do set the precedent high, So yeah, I think it's an interesting take being one of the first to go through this program. And I'm just going to echo again, I really enjoy having a friend in doing this too. And so that's been a real blessing for me.
Yeah, it would be nice if there's a bunch more people. I keep thinking about how there's 17,000 students at the University of Montana in Missoula. And it's like, that's just one university, and how they're having to deal with parking and housing and feeding all these people.
And if they do their programming, they guarantee will get a degree, and there are guarantees for work. And with this program, you don't actually get a diploma that's like accredited anywhere else, and you don't actually know what you're going to get at the end. Like there's a lot of uncertainty.
Well, and then, of course, as we've talked about before in other podcasts, I'm not sure, but then if you go and you get a 4-year degree, then you don't get $1 million property. You get the opportunity to be able to go on 100 job interviews until you finally get some job that's not quite the job you're looking for. And then you can work hard, and then maybe in a few years eventually find yourself working on a job that's a little bit closer to what you want.
Being in the system is a totally different path, and there are pros and cons to both. I think there is an assumption that there's more of a guarantee or more certainty in being in the system. And because it's the what's the phrasing for it? It's the well-taken path, right? Like the path is worn.
Yeah, you kind of have a pretty good idea how it's going to go.
Familiar, everyone
you go to school for 4 years, you're going to get a job for 40 years, and then you can finally retire, and you're debt-free.
Doing that, this is a totally different path, and people don't understand it. Yeah. And I'm not really even sure my whole family, my extended family, like my own 4-person family is in full support. But outside of that, I bring it up at family dinners, and my dad is quick to say, all right, can someone else start talking? I'm tired of hearing this, So yeah, it's different. It's not like going to a 4-year engineering degree where everybody's like, yeah, this is great. Your future is promising. People don't get it. People find it hard to support an endeavor where there's no guarantee.
No, that's fair. It's fair. There's not even any history. The history hasn't been made yet. I mean, Mike and I have been keeping all of the Otis's information very discreet because history.
Yeah,
and
understandably.
And so it's like until somebody hits PEP 2 and then the Otises will just go apeshit on you, then until then it's like you gotta trust us. And yeah, so it is a bit of a leap. But I do think that if we were to make a podcast, like one of those things that we do with the YouTube where there's like, you know, the talking heads, and we can like maybe bring in 7 different Otises or something like that. I mean, for the Otises that contacted us, I don't know, 8 years ago, I wouldn't be surprised if half of those people have already died and nobody got their stuff. So I want to change gears for just a moment. I think it was yesterday or the day before we talked about one of the BBs. You're like, okay, I need to find a BB that, you know, is part of the commerce stuff, and it's about, I think it was like, I need to be able to make money over the internet. I think that's what you...
Yeah.
And then, so I felt like it was important to say into a podcast, like, part of the, you know, and granted, most of the people that are pursuing this stuff, they don't care about Otises. They're doing it for their own growth. I'm kind of amazed at the total number of people that are doing it to mitigate depression. That's been a fascinating one for me. Like, if I do these things, the act of doing it helps to solve my depression, and the act of having an artifact afterward that's been validated by somebody who's very picky, that validation, the work on doing it, the validation, plus now I have the artifact, I have a thing that I made right here, and it's beautiful to me. These 3 aspects of each BB mitigates depression. I thought that was interesting. But okay.
Oh, I can speak to that a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it feels really empowering to know that I am making progress, that I am learning skill sets, that you know, if shit were to hit the fan, if there's a black swan event, you know, like, there are so many skills that you need to learn in case of whatever, right? Yeah. And, you know, maybe COVID was, you know, eye-opening for me in this way. You know, I wasn't really prepared. And so I thought it was just really interesting now to reflect on, you know, those early months of COVID and, you know, what I was worried about, what kind of fear-based things, like, occupied my brain space. And just to reiterate, like, learning skill sets are very empowering. Knowing how to do food storage, or, you know, what's safe to eat because of botulism, or, you know, whatever, like knowing how to pressure can food, or
you can only read so many books, but then you have to actually do it.
Yes.
And then, in fact, I think you were saying just in the last couple of days something about, like, you read a whole bunch of books on a topic. I don't remember what the topic was, only to kind of discover that all of the books were pretty much wrong. Because when you actually got down to it and you actually did it, all of the books that you read were just utterly wrong.
Okay. I'm going to clarify that.
Okay.
But to stay on topic, I have read a whole bunch of books. I got so wildly obsessed about permaculture and gardening and natural building and how do I get out of this conventional home? And so I've definitely entered a phase of I'm kind of tired of reading all the books and just doing the things, because there's so much to be learned and doing the thing. But that what you recall was actually my daughter. My daughter has been wanting to have a cat, and took out every cat book in the library, and
oh, right.
It was that's what you recall.
And the way that we care for cats here is
wildly different than what she was learning from these useless books. And so my daughter said to me, one day a few weeks ago, all that she's learned about cats and being here and interacting with cats and learning from Steven and hearing, stories from you. She said, man, I've been writing down my notes so that I can write a useful book one day. So that's what you remember.
The whole thing about the commerce badges.
The whole thing about the commerce badges. My apologies, audience. I am now back to holding the microphone by myself. I'm not sure what Paul was looking to get out of this line of thought. Perhaps he wanted to touch on why that commerce aspect is important. So let's see if maybe I can touch on something that Paul would want to hear. Let's see. There are conventional money systems, and then there are, and that has, some assurance. Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad, Paul, you're back. Here you are.
All right. For the commerce badge,
so useful.
Otis, and most people don't even care about Otis, but Otis is going to care about, and the whole thing started with, like, Mike Ayler, he needs to, and Mike Ayler wasn't even the first. He was like number 20 or so of these old people with land that I talked to about basically Otises. He was like the 20th Otis I ever talked to. And this is long before I even started with PEP or Skip or any of that. But, okay, the thing is that Otis needs to be sure that this is going to work out. Otis needs to know. And so Otis he needs. So Mike Ayler was saying something along the lines of, I need to know that a person is worthy, and of course that person's wanting to get the property signed over to them before they come out at all, but he doesn't know they're worthy yet. So what can we do to prove their worth? On top of all of that, Otis just simply needs to know that a person's not going to show up, burn through all the money and burn through all the resources, and then they have to sell the land because everything went to hell. So the commerce badge, the whole idea is that to be able to show up and you already have some residual income streams, and on top of that, you've proven that you have the ability to earn coin with materials from the land, and on top of that, you're able to travel to a nearby farm and earn coin as well. So these are this is the core of the commerce badges. And so it's kind of like, for most of the people that are doing Skip and they don't care about Otis, then that probably isn't the thing to shoot for. They probably don't care about the commerce badge. Who cares? But I do think that in order to be able to get to PEP 2, being able to nail down a bunch of the commerce badge stuff is, well, I think that's probably the most important, one of the most important badges. Like, if an Otis is going to give you their everything, they need to know, because what they want out of this, what they get out of this, is that here they've loved this property for 80 years, and they know
is that you're not going to up and sell, all the time, investment, and love that they've given to the property. Yeah. I think that's
someone's going to
fair.
Keep loving it.
I have to say, I was surprised that when you said that you think this is actually the most important one. I'm surprised by that, and maybe, I feel like, I'm sort of.
From the perspective of Otis.
Okay,
I mean, Otis has been through the ringer with a lot of shysters.
Gotcha.
And it's like, and Otis is just sick to death of it. And on top of that, the people that Otis knows now that are potentials, the Otis considers them to be a bunch of fucking losers.
I feel like money is such an interesting topic, and I want to kind of resonate with what you say about, permaculture and money, and it's like I would love for people to be making money in this industry. I would love to see it, and I love encouraging it. I feel funny about it myself because I don't want to feel motivated for money, and so I haven't been too focused on that, or that aspect myself, and so I'm just sorry. It was just a little unexpected for it to be the most important, but I can see why to you it is the most important, because it's securing the future of this property, and if you don't have, the finances to sustain it, then the future is in jeopardy, and so I never thought about it from that standpoint, and you're right, that is important. I feel like I've been kind of passively working on that aspect, and so I haven't had as much traction, but I did do that. I've done some things where I make some money, but I haven't been necessarily doing a great job documenting it. I don't know if I mentioned this. I personally don't want to feel motivated by the money aspect of it, but I think in part, leaving, the system in my corporate job, I feel like I have diversified our family. I've been working on relationships and, investing more in the gift economy, and I think there's a lot of wealth in relationships, and so. But you're absolutely right. If you can't pay taxes on the property, the future of the property is at risk, and so that is important for sure.
Yeah, and I think, and that was kind of like Mike's thing, as well as all these other Otis's, is like, I just need to know that they're worthy. So, all right, I'm out of time. Alexandra, thank you. If you like this sort of thing, come on out to the forums at permies.com, where we talk about skip, homesteading, and permaculture all the time.
I'm Edward Norton. No, not that one, the other one, and I love pies. No, not that kind, the other kind. Permies is an old school forum packed full of friendly people who occasionally give out a slice of pie. You'll never forget your first slice of pie. It made me feel so good I had to buy a whole pie so I could share the love. Oh, and there's apples too. Sign up at permies.com to join in the world of homesteading and permaculture, and you too might get a slice of pie.